Hope you're having a great weekend. You're plugged into Long Island this morning along the Cox Media Group Long Island Radio Networks. In the studio with us this morning is Ken Cerini from Cerini and Associates. He's here to talk to us this morning about the Imagine Awards. They're going to be coming up on April 30th at the Crest Hollow Country Club. You can get tickets, more information on it all at ImagineAwardsLI.com. Ken, thanks for coming in this morning. I know it's early on a Sunday here, but I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me here. This is awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about the Imagine Awards themselves for people who don't know anything about it. Tell us what they're all about, how it all came to be, how you got involved, and all the good stuff.
Well, the Imagine Awards is something that we started. It was a thought that I had probably about 16 years ago. You know, you're in a situation where the nonprofit sector does so much for everyone who lives, works, and plays here on Long Island. It's kind of a something that's vital to the Long Island marketplace and economy and everything. And there seem to be awards for absolutely everything else in the world, but there was no award for the nonprofit sector. So here's a sector that does everything, making sure that everybody else is taken care of, but there's no recognition of the good stuff that the nonprofit sector is doing. So we decided, hey, why not there be an award for the nonprofit sector? So we created this award program. This is going to be on April 30th, as you mentioned, is going to be our 7th annual of the Imagine Awards. And it's this really cool concept where we send out an application. Nonprofit organizations fill out the application in one of 5 different categories. So they can apply for social impact, which is, as it sounds, organizations that are out there making a difference both on a micro and macro level. Micro being, helping the people and the community that they serve. I'm sorry, macro would be the community, micro would be the people. The second award is innovation, and that would be for an organization that has some sort of innovative aspect to them, whether it be a fundraising event or an innovative program or whatever. The third is leadership, so that's for a nonprofit leader. And again, it doesn't have to be, it could be a board member, it could be a volunteer, it doesn't matter. It's just someone within the organization who's really making a difference. We have a category called Rising Star. We felt that there needed to be the ability for a smaller organization to get recognition. There are so many large organizations. So, almost half of the nonprofit organizations on Long Island generate under $1 million worth of revenue. So we said, all right, let's make sure that small marketplace is covered too. So we set up a Rising Star category. And the last category is arts and culture, because when you have an arts and cultural organization, you have health and welfare, people getting food, or,
right.
We wanted to make sure the arts and culture were met too. So
very cool.
We threw in a category for that too.
Now, how does the nonprofit, if you're an organization, maybe somebody's listening this morning, how does an organization end up getting nominated?
They can self-nominate, or someone can nominate them. The nomination process goes from the beginning of September through the end of November.
Okay.
So
in the fall.
Yeah, that part of it's kind of over for this year's Imagine Awards, but it'll be up there for next year. And the nomination process it's a pretty quick, 4 or 5 questions, depending on which category you're entering in. Should take no more than about 20 minutes to a half an hour to fill out. And it really isn't meant to be something that's difficult for people to complete. It's really meant to be something that's easy, because we want to encourage people to apply.
Cool. Now, how are the awards, the award winners picked? Is it voted on, or is it a board, or? So
we have it's a multi-phase process. So we start off with a panel. So it's a committee. It's a committee of 14 people who go through all of the applications. This year we had 172 applications come in. And we went through all of those applications, and these are various business people and nonprofit people out there who are part of this committee. So we went through the 172 applications. We boiled it down to 36 applications, and we turned those 36 applications over to 5 judges. Those 5 judges went through those 36 applications. They picked the 20 finalists, and they picked the 5 winners of this year's Imagine Awards. Now, the winners aren't notified. They're notified that they're finalists, but the winners are unveiled at the event on April 30th.
So when they come to the event, it's kind of like a bit of a surprise. Hopefully you bring prepared remarks. Maybe there's a possibility you're going to win, but you don't know for sure until you get there.
Well, you have a pretty decent chance. I mean, again, there's 5 different categories, 20 finalists, so each one has about a 25% chance of winning. But yeah, I mean, the goal really is we want people in the room. We want to get nonprofits in the room. The reason we kind of set this up, yes, part of it was to shine the light on the nonprofit sector, because again, they need the recognition. Part of it also was collaboration. We want to get a bunch of nonprofits in a room. The sector is is in a kind of a tenuous place right now. People are competing for the same dollars. The new tax code has really decreased the amount of contributions.
Right.
Government funding has been decreasing. The amount of
it's tough. I mean, we get all different groups in here every week, and that's one of the questions I always ask them. It's like, how do you make yourself stand out? You know, if you have like 6 heart association groups coming in. Yeah. Like, what do you guys do to make, that difference? It's got to be tough.
It's been really tough for the nonprofit sector. So, again, we wanted to make sure that if we can bring a bunch of nonprofit organizations into a room and they can start communicating and they can start talking, as you said, maybe some of those heart associations come together and they become a bigger heart association that's, better poised to serve the industry better.
Right.
And we've seen some of that happening within the Imagine Awards where, groups have come together and, they started working with each other, which is really what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And then the last piece of it is education. I mean, it's really cool when you're able to, because part of the Imagine Awards, the way it's set up is there are videos. So we do these small videos for each of the 20 finalists, and they get to keep the video, but they also get shown that night on the big screen. And one of the things we find is that, some of the concepts and ideas that these nonprofits are doing, other nonprofits have seen them and said, wow, that's a great idea.
Right.
We should be doing that too. So part of it's that education component of it also.
Very cool. Plugged into Long Island this morning, we have Ken Cerini in the studio with us from Cerini & Associates talking about the Imagine Awards. They're going to be happening on April 30th at the Crest Hollow Country Club. So now the process to select the winners, what attributes do you guys look for in selecting those winners? That's got to be tough too.
Yeah, no, it's real tough. I mean, you get to a point where you go through the applications and you're looking at each one of them and you're like, oh, I love this one. And then you look at that, oh, I love this one too.
Right, yeah.
And you got to kind of go through this process and try to figure out, who really exemplifies, what we're looking for. And,
right.
And what we're really looking for is we're looking for organizations that get it, that are really making a difference. It's not just about, I serve 1,000 people. It's what impact am I having on those 1,000 people?
Right.
What impact am I having overall on the economy or the community? What am I doing that's different from everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're looking for organizations that aren't really, just kind of running through the motion, but they're really doing really cool stuff. And we've had, over the years, I can go back to the first Imagine Awards we had. We had an organization, Long Island Crisis Center, and, they're a suicide prevention for young adults. And one of the things that they were doing, I mean, you think right now everybody knows, texting and, everybody texts, but this was, 7 years ago. And when suicide hotlines were still phone, and people would call into suicide hotlines, and they said, well, young people don't call anymore, they text. So they set up this whole texting system where individuals or young people in crisis can text in their problems, and they'd have someone who's there texting back to them, and they can communicate anonymously and effectively. They won, and several other organizations have now taken on that concept of this.
Very cool. So they were like the pioneers in that.
They were early on in the process, and there have been others along the way that have done some really, really cool stuff. And one of the things that's really cool about the night and really cool about the videos, first of all, the night goes really, really fast, but the videos, I can't remember one. I mean, again, we've gone through 6 of them so far where throughout one of the videos, the whole crowd didn't start crying over something that took place, because they're powerful. The organizations are making such a difference. You've got some of the individuals being served by the organizations as part of these videos, and they're telling the stories, and it's really cool, and it really makes you feel good that you're there, and that you've kind of created this, and I think it's awesome.
Very cool. April 30th is where it's going to be, the Crest Hollow Country Club, the Imagine Awards, the 7th annual?
This is our 7th annual.
7th annual one. You have a great night. Take us through the evening. What goes on? What time do you guys start? Can anybody go to this, or is this?
It's open. It's open to absolutely anyone. We encourage people to come. Anybody who we'd love to have more and more nonprofit organizations in the room. What we did is we actually set the pricing to make it attractive to nonprofits. We're not looking to make any money. This is not a fundraising event. This is an awards program. All the money that comes in gets filtered right back out to the nonprofit organizations.
Right.
And I will get to answering your question.
Yeah, and you have to pay for the Crest Hollow too. I mean, anybody that's gotten married knows, wherever I got married at Westbury Manor, but that you still need the money to pay for the venue
so,
too.
So the ticket price for a nonprofit is $100. Ticket price for a for-profit is $125. What we do is, that pays for the event, that pays for the videos, that pays for each of the winners gets $5,000 So that goes towards that $5,000. And we have sponsors that help to kind of deal with this too. But in terms of taking you through the night, it starts at 7. From 7 to 8, we have a cocktail reception, and then we have the dinner that goes. We do a couple of the awards, then we have a dinner, so you can have more networking. Then we go back to the awards, and the night is pretty quick. I mean, we're done usually before 10 o'clock.
Very cool. ImagineAwardsLI.com is where you can get the tickets.
That's right. Yep. If they go on there, they can get tickets. They can sponsor if they want to. We still have sponsorships left. Again, it's a great night, and even if you don't want to sponsor, just be in the room. I mean, It really is such a magical night, and the more people that are in the room. Last year we had over 400 people in the room, and again, when you have these nonprofit organizations all coming together, and talking and communicating, magic happens. And I can tell you, one of the years it was pretty cool. We were going through this, and again, we offer $5,000 to each of the 5 winners. And there was somebody in the crowd who came up to me during the dinner break, and he said, "Look, I have a private foundation, and I really love what you did here, and I've been trying to figure out who I wanted to support." He said, "Tell you what, I will give each of the finalists $5,000. And he pledged right there that night $100,000.
Wow.
And each of the 20 finalists got $5,000.
Wow.
Now, that hasn't happened again.
Right, but that was a nice little lightning in a bottle moment, but maybe it'll happen again.
And we've had a few where, over the course of the event, people have come up and said, yeah, I'd like to pledge $5,000 to this organization or that organization, but we've never had the widespread like we did that year.
Very cool. Sponsorships, partnerships are a key, as you mentioned, to putting something like this together. Do you want to mention any groups or sponsors in particular? I know it's tough; you don't want to leave anybody out, but
I mean, I can talk about our platinum sponsors. So Cerini Associates, we're one of the platinum sponsors. Vanguard Insurance Group is one of the platinum sponsors that we have. Sir Tillman, the law firm, is one of the platinum sponsors. Empire National Bank has been a platinum sponsor from the beginning, and then we have a private foundation who's also helped to fund this.
Very cool. And if somebody listening right now wants to sponsor or get involved and be a sponsor for the event, go to the website, I guess.
Yep, go to the website. Yeah, we're still looking for. I mean, obviously, as you said earlier, the event doesn't pay for itself. It is a fairly pricey event to run. As you said, Crest Hollow gets their piece, and everybody else. So
anybody that's gotten married or had a sweet 16 for their daughter, or they know what the
I mean,
bill is
basically,
like.
I mean, if you think about it, the price tag that we're charging for the tickets is roughly what Crest Hollow is charging us for the event. So it really, as I said, we're not looking to make any money here. The goal is, and the more, what we've also done is we've offered free tickets back to nonprofit organizations. So all of the finalists got free tickets to the event. So really, the more money that we bring in, the more we can do for the sector. We also have a fan favorite award, and this is our, I think, 3rd year of doing the fan favorite award. And it's actually the voting's taking place right now, where people can vote for one of the 20 finalists, and whoever's named the fan favorite gets a $2,500 award also. So we try to keep filtering money back into the program. The more money that comes in, the more we're able to push back out to the sector. We'd love to be able to. I'd love to be in a situation where we're able to give a couple hundred tickets out free, but again, that really comes down to the money that's coming into the organization.
Right. Ken Cerini with us this morning talking about the Imagine Awards. Ken, 7 years in now. This will be the 7th one, April 30th, Crest Hollow Country Club. For the future plans, future dreams for the awards and for the organization?
We plan on continuing to do this. I mean, I'm hoping that this is something that becomes a mainstay on Long Island. The other thing we're looking to do, hopefully next year, is we're looking to move this also into the city. So we'll have a second one. So we'll have a Long Island Imagine Awards, and then we would like to have one that covers the New York City marketplace too. I mean, this has been such a
that would be cool. Yeah.
Large success here on Long Island. And we don't want to take it away from Long Island. I mean, Long Island is the home of the Imagine Awards. It's where the Imagine Awards started. And we understand that the organizations that are here on Long Island are very, very different from the organizations that are in the city. So we will always keep the Long Island Imagine Awards, and this will always be in play. But we're looking to put, like I said, a city version of it, done exactly the same way with application process and everything else. But we'd get new sponsors and new everything in the city. We'd have that handled in the city so that city organizations, and it could be New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, or the Bronx. They all actually can apply for that one and leave Long Island, by itself out here.
Very cool. That's the way to expand it, and then maybe from New York City, maybe it grows beyond New York. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of any other program throughout the state, and I actually haven't even heard of programs throughout the country that are like this, which is surprising because it just seems like, every time you turn around, there's another award program for something else. Yet I just don't get why the nonprofit sector doesn't get the recognition. Maybe it's because they don't pay for sponsorships or they don't. It just, to me, just doesn't make sense. It's not about, making money off the sector. It's about how do you help the sector? How do you help the sector grow and improve? Like I said, the challenges that it's going through right now, I'd love to be able to do a hell of a lot more than we're able to do right now. But, and again, just seeing the coolest part of this whole thing is there are so many organizations that are out there that you don't even know exist, and, the more we've done this, there's been some really, really cool. I mean, there's an organization called Book Fairies out there, and they're located over in Freeport. Never heard of them. And I've been working in the nonprofit sector for over 20 years. Never heard of this organization. It's a small organization. What they do is they collect gently used books and they distribute those books out to, school systems and private schools and children and adults who really don't have access to books. And they've made a tremendous impact on the lives of the people that they've touched. And this is a small organization that honestly went under the radar screen. Nobody ever heard of. And, now they're a finalist in the Imagine Awards. So, this is really cool that we're able to see these organizations that, again, never heard of before, and being able to connect them now. I mean, one of the things with them that's kind of cool is we fell in love with them. So we've now pledged that for every hour of billable service we have as an accounting firm, we're going to give them or help them to put a book in the hands of a child.
Wow, very cool.
Because this is just amazing. So it's the connections that are being made through the Imagine Awards, both from a business perspective, from a feel-good perspective, and from a nonprofit perspective are incredible. Doesn't
quite always get the attention that other things in the media get, but a lot of people out there doing a lot of good things for a lot of people.
It just seems that and sorry to say this, but sometimes the media kind of points at the bad stuff,
right?
Instead of focusing on the benefits and the positives that are happening out there in the world. And again, without the nonprofit sector, just imagine what Long Island would be like.
Right.
It's kind of hard to imagine that.
Yeah.
So again, that's where the name in essence came from. Is
right. And the only time we generally hear about where everybody wants to race to help is when you have like a real major tragedy like a Hurricane Sandy or a Hurricane Irene or something like that, or an earthquake hits somewhere. And of course that's a good time for people that want to help. We have Neil Alakal, who comes in here from the American Red Cross. And she comes in 3-4 times a year, and it's not just those times. It's great that people want to help at those times, but also throughout the year, people are in need, and these nonprofits are doing those jobs and helping people all over the place, and it might not get the recognition.
Yeah. One of the things you see, I mean, you bring up the hurricanes and the earthquakes and everything else. I mean, one of the things you see is with the advent of the internet and the advent of all of this communication that takes place. It used to be that the dollar stayed here on Long Island and people, gave locally. Now you're finding that the dollars are flying off the island, and the nonprofits that are here on the island, especially a lot of the smaller ones, are having a tougher time.
Right.
So, and this goes back to what you said earlier. How do you get your name out there? How do you increase your visibility as an organization? And that's hopefully what the Imagine Awards is doing too. It's hopefully that's helping to increase visibility, because you get enough people in a room and they just start to hear about this, and we pump this out all over the place in terms of information and in terms of the names of the semifinalists and finalists. So we're constantly pushing out all this information to the marketplace.
And we'll have, we'll get it up on our websites too. We'll have all the information, really, and that'll be out there as well. Ken Cerini from Cerini Associates with us this morning, talking about the Imagine Awards. They're going to be happening this year, April 30th at the Crest Hollow Country Club. A few minutes left here. I just wanted to ask you, for people listening, just give us a little bit of your background. You grew up here on Long Island, and you work in an accounting firm. Tell us how you got involved in all that. Give us all the good stuff.
Yeah, I was actually born in Flushing, but I grew up my whole life in South Huntington.
Okay.
Avid BAB.
And most people from Long Island either were born or raised or born in Brooklyn or Queens and then moved out here.
I was going to say avid BAB listener growing up in the 70s and 80s. So that was cool. got married, now living out in Wisconsin with my family. Started up the accounting firm 25 years ago, so it's been going strong for 25 years.
Did you always want to do accounting when you were a kid? Or I mean, I feel like that's
so
one of the things you have
I'm
to...
sorry to say that I've been an accounting major since I'm 12 years old.
I was going to say, you got to be born to want to do that, right? I mean, it's kind of like radio or anything.
Yeah,
I
looked at all the cool jobs were taken, so
yeah,
whatever.
That's funny.
But we've always worked in the we do everything as a firm, but we work heavily in the nonprofit sector, which again is why this is so important to me in terms of starting this thing up, because the nonprofit sector is so vital, and want to make sure that from that perspective that the nonprofit sector is being taken care of. But yeah, no, I enjoy what I do tremendously. It's been phenomenal in terms of being able to help organizations.
Right. And you started the firm yourself, or you start with the help of other people, but you were the one.
No, I started the firm myself.
Right,
with the help of me.
Right. So you started it. So you already had that experience of, being able to get something like this off the ground. Yeah. At least you had that experience already of being successful with a successful firm. Yeah, that gives you a little bit of an advantage, right?
Yeah. No, and again, you gotta, like anything else in life, you gotta want it. You gotta work hard for it. You gotta push for it.
Right.
Same thing can say about the accounting firm, the Imagine Awards, or anything. There really is no sense of quit.
Right. Was your dad like that? Or were your parents like that? Was he an accountant too?
He was not.
No,
he was not. There's actually I don't have a history of accountants in my family, and I don't have none of my kids went into accounting. So I'm kind of a lone sheep out there in terms of the accounting world. But again, it's I enjoy it because what I do is a little different, because like I said, I work with nonprofit organizations. I kind of help them to run their companies more effectively. I help them to drop more money to their bottom line. I help them to look at fundraising and operations a lot differently than they typically do, which again is what's important.
Awesome. Ken Cerini, thanks for coming in this morning. Good luck with the awards, April 30th. And you got to come back and tell us more about the good stuff. And next year, maybe come up in the fall, and we'll talk about the whole nominating process, and we'll try and get more people into the fold.
That would be awesome. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Ken Cerini from Cerini & Associates plugged into Long Island this morning talking about the 2019 Imagine Awards. They're going to be happening on April 30th at the Crest Hollow Country Club, the 7th annual Imagine Awards. And if you want more information about the award show, or if you want to see more about what Ken does and maybe get your nonprofit nominated, or get into the fold or get involved with this dinner, ImagineAwardsLI.com is the place to go. That's ImagineAwardsLI.com. My name is Ted Lindner. Thanks for being plugged into Long Island this Sunday morning along the Cox Media Group Long Island radio networks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.